I don't believe that we should ever have a good money again before we take the thing out of the hands of government.
Welcome everyone, we're Simply Bitcoin. We break down the news, the daily fail, meme review, software releases, hardware releases, and the websites by Plebs. Alright, we're diving into the numbers, let's do it.
Number time! Brought to you by Bitcoin 2022. It's going to be the largest Bitcoin conference celebration ever, hosted in sunny Miami Beach, Florida. It's in less than a month. Get your tickets quickly. It's April 6th to 9th. The speaker list is crazy. We have President Nayib Bukele, we have Michael Saylor, we have Saifedean, we have Adam Back, Jack Motters, Senator Lummis, Dr. Jordan Peterson. It's going to be absolutely bonkers, and you can take advantage of the link down below for 10% off your tickets to Bitcoin 2022.
At the time of this recording, the block height is 728,407. The Bitcoin price, 41,215. Chain rewrite days, 739. Total public lightning capacity, 3,531.72. Moscow time, 24:26. Blocks to the halvening, 111,593. And the Samurai Whirlpool unspent capacity. Samurai Whirlpool is a coin join or collaborative spend service and is not a mixer. The unspent capacity is 4,419.85.
Very cool stuff.
The numbers.
The numbers, dude, and a little observation, or a couple observation. No, I mean, it's not really an observation. It's the thing that I keep reiterating. I'm going to say this until the day that it happens. Okay? That Samurai Whirlpool, that shit is going to be made illegal one day. I'm telling you, bro. They're going to deem it, even though it's not a mixing service, right? It's a coin join, right? It's individuals, like, joining their transactions. I totally butchered. I'm sorry, Leron. So yeah, it's not a mixer, right? But that doesn't mean that the government or the state isn't going to see it that way, right? As Bitcoin continues to take more power away from them. Anyways, Phil, check this out. Very interesting website. It was recommended to me by Gooseman. We have used it in the past, but I think they did an update to the website. So this is the Clark Moody dashboard, but more so mining related. So this is, this is the network data, right? Phil went through, I was going to call you Bitcoin. Phil already went through some of these. So, the market cap, 778 billion, hash price, very interesting, 19 cents USD. Network hash rate, 206 exahashes. Block rewards, 6.31 Bitcoin. And I know a lot of you are like, isn't it 6.25? Well, yeah, plus the actual fees that are included in the block. So it's a little bit, it's like 0.06 higher. Fees in block, 0.90%. Network difficulty, I don't know what the T stands for. Anyways, the estimated difficulty adjustment, 5.45%. Blocks and epoch, 614 to 2000. I don't think that number changes, Phil. Oh,
no, that number doesn't change.
Okay, that's how much it. That's like a progress bar. Interesting.
Yeah.
Average block per second, 9 minutes 29 seconds. Very cool. Estimated halving estimate May 3rd, 2024. It's near my birthday. Anyways, this is also really interesting. ASIC index data. And look, the price of miners has gone down. And this is the actual Bitcoin ASIC price per model. This is the S19, right? You could put the S9 in there, right? And it has different dynamics. It's very cool stuff, right? I remember this, by the way. I never forget this, dude. I bought an S9 in November of 2017. And in December, I flipped it for, it was a little bit less than that. It was like really like $2,500. But I bought it for like half the price. But then look at what happened right after. This was, dude, I saw so many pleb miners get into Bitcoin mining in 2018, the beginning of 2018, because they saw this and they got totally wrecked, right? But it's really interesting because the S19 is still on the come up, it looks like. Well, the price is still on the way down. Rig price and BTC. Oh, I didn't notice that. Anyways, I love the deflationary effect of Bitcoin. The Bitcoin price has gone down, but the USD price has gone up. I think I'm going to end it with that. I think that's a beautiful analogy or representation of Bitcoin. Anyways, I thought you guys would find it interesting. It's different. It's not your usual hopium, but it's a lot of mining metrics that usually people don't see. And I love the graphs and the images because I think one thing is reading the numbers, but once you see a graph, it like helps you visualize what you're looking at. Phil?
So 206 terahashes. Now, if I'm not mistaken, right, we have been trending above the all-time high now for how long? At least a month, man.
Yeah. But let me
hold on. Not to introduce hopium, but we're trending at this all-time high on the hash rate, okay? Yeah. And the price and like Mr. Bitcoin just won't die. Mm-hmm. Right? Like it's like you see these dumps, like not that it makes a difference, but if you're watching the day-to-day action, which I can't help but do, I really can't. I love watching candles.
I think everyone does, dude.
But some people really don't, though. Some people are really good about it. Some people don't look at that chart at all, and I applaud them because I'm weak. Okay? I'm weak, and I have to watch it. And I gotta say, every single time it's spiked down, it has just pulled right back up. And again, not speculating on a positive surprise or a negative surprise, but I am saying that we are holding up very well for the current timeline. So anyways,
I agree.
Very pleased. Very pleased.
100%. I 100% agree. And this is a visual representation of what you're talking about, Phil, at least the hash rate, right? Right here where my cursor is, that was the China ban. According to this estimate, we were at 181 exahashes. And now, right, it's trending upwards, right? That's undeniable. So, yeah, you know, and you guys know the theory, right? Theoretically, the higher the hash rate, theoretically, the more secure Bitcoin is. So you want that to go up forever. But anyways, Phil, it's time for
the Daily Fail. Brought to you by Amber App. Check them out. Amber.app, a Bitcoin stacking app by Bitcoiners. You're going to stack. Check out Amber. Low fees, fair spreads, smart automation. The link is down below.
Amber, the smart way to stack sats.
Guys, we can also be fails, right? We're not perfect, and we get tons of shit wrong, and sometimes I don't even understand what our fails are about. Okay, anyways, Copernicus' son, who may or may not be, or I may or may not be his alias, we're not really sure his doppelganger, who knows? Anyways, we just can't operate the same space. All right, so he tagged us in this. He thinks it's daily fail worthy. Nico, you're going to have to explain this to me. Let's take a look at this. Nico, take self-custody of your Bitcoin. Also, Nico, if you wanted to do some shady stuff on the internet, perhaps maybe the privacy thing could be more important. Okay. I don't understand 100% why this is a fail. And we were talking about this before the show, and I still am not 100% sure why this is a fail.
So I think that there's some. I think that perhaps you could interpret that as a little bit of it's conflicting, right? And maybe it's one thing is, you know, canceling out the other. Okay, so let me elaborate a little bit more by what I mean by that. Okay, so you have a lot of Bitcoiners emphasizing the importance of privacy. I think that's a disservice to anybody that is getting into Bitcoin, because they spin up a narrative in their mind. The most important thing that you could do as a Bitcoiner is take self-custody. Privacy, right, comes second, right? And look, I think privacy is very important, right? That's why I run my own node, right? That's why my node is connected through Tor, right? But in terms of what a lot of other Bitcoiners are advocating for, which is the mixing services, first of all, they're expensive, right? You know, they take a percentage of your Bitcoin, right? Second of all, what you will see, look, I don't sell Bitcoin personally, but let's say in your particular situation, you wanted to sell Bitcoin and you mixed your coins and you sent them to a KYC exchange. That KYC exchange could flag those coins as mixed, right? And again, it's not that there's not anything wrong, is that they're trying to protect themselves from the government, right? So I think that privacy is very important, and that's why I run my own node. I think that the mixing services are important in certain types of situations, but I think that the most important thing that you could do with your Bitcoin, even if you don't run your own node, is take that Bitcoin into self-custody, meaning you're the only one that knows those private keys, right? Whether you write them down and which way method, there's 12 words, 24 words, you put them on paper, you put them on steel with the cipher safe, whatever method you prefer. It's very important that you take self-custody, because with self-custody comes the power of your money. If you don't have self-custody, the power of your money actually belongs to the bank. It's not really yours. You have to ask the bank for permission, right? Or you have to ask the exchange permission. Can I use my money, please? Right? But as we saw in Canada, and as we're going to see in the news in a little bit, that's a lot of power that you're outsourcing to somebody else. Don't be caught in that situation. My 2 cents. So, Copper Nixon, which is really Phil's alter ego, I hope I answered your question.
You did answer my question, Nico. Thank you.
You're welcome. Now we're talking to each other through memes. That's awesome.
Okay. Moving on. Here we go. We're about. You know what? The next one. I wouldn't expect to see this until an 80% drawdown in Bitcoin. But I guess the pain happens a little early.
We're at that part of the cycle.
Yeah, we are at that part of the cycle. Here we go. That's right, Nico. Let's watch this this vid. It looks like it's an ad. It looks like he's doing a little ad speak.
Who's he?
Oh, we're talking about Will Clemente, who is he's like a Bitcoin analyst that gets brought onto Pomp a lot on the Pomp show.
It's Pomp's what is that the young guy that's coming up? There's a word.
He's a lead insights analyst at Blockwave Solutions. Nico.
There we go.
That's right. Okay, so let's dive into this.
A lot of you are holders of ETH, and if you plan on hanging on to that precious ETH long term, then it's a great time to think about staking that ETH with Blockware Solutions. Staking your ETH in a Blockware Solutions validator node is one of the safest ways to earn rewards while having full control of your assets. And a lot of you are holders of ETH.
All right, before we dive into the full story, like I said, I don't usually expect to see this type of behavior before 80% drawdown, but we're at like a 50%, actually less. We're at like a 40-something% drawdown. And shilling ETH when he's been sitting here for like how many years just doing Bitcoin charting?
Dude,
I don't know, man. This is like, you see, this is the kind of cringe behavior that we end up seeing. And I do feel bad for a lot of the people that that buy into the technical analysis narrative. Look, technical analysis is not entirely incorrect. People do make money with technical analysis. Guess what? For the most part, they do this as a full-time job, okay? So when you're watching somebody like him talk about Bitcoin, just realize he's most likely not looking at it through the same lens that you are looking at it, okay? So that's why I get very worried when following these technicians when they tell you this is a good buy area, this is a good sell area. Something that we've said on the show before, which is something I'm going to repeat, is that everybody has different goals. Everybody has different timelines. You need to figure out what's right for you. And listening to these technicians, to me anyways, has never been a profitable venture.
But
okay?
Phil, let's be real. Okay, let's be real for a second. All the block analysis people, the blockchain, were catastrophically wrong in 2021.
Totally wrong.
All
Yes.
of them.
All of them.
Woo. Plan B, Will Clemente, Dylan, and dude, and some of those people I'm friends with. And there's nothing wrong with being wrong. It's that you were being wrong. You were wrong. So clearly, this chain analysis, which it was hyped to be the next big thing, right, wasn't what it was cut out. It wasn't what it was sold to you as. So look, I also acknowledge that Will's a young kid. And he obviously wants more corn, right? And this is a sponsor. But I want to point something out, right? And we get this comment a lot, right? Which is like, you guys should have so many more subscribers. You guys should whatever. Guys, it's incredibly difficult to grow on YouTube and keep your soul, okay? Very few people do that. As soon as you start selling shitcoins, because you know they're bullshit, right? You make a lot more money. You get a lot more views, right? So it's incredibly difficult to essentially balance that. Now with Will, he's a young guy, right? And he's hanging out with Pomp. He's hanging out with all these people that have a lot of wealth, bro. So that's that dude. That is very, very alluring, right? That is very, very attractive, right? So think about the self-control that kid would have to have, you know, not to pursue those things. But, you know, look, if he was older, I would give him a little bit more shit. But the fact that he's 20 years old, he's hungry, you know, makes me look at this from a slightly different perspective because, dude, you know, it's hard. It's hard to make it. But, yeah, man, it's unfortunate because, again, this goes by to the thing that we said about Tom Brady. This is an external validation of ETH. So if you are getting into the space, you're just joining Twitter, you see Clemente has that many followers, you see Pomp bringing him on his show, that's telling you this is a resource, this is a guy I could trust, this is a guy that, you know, I could potentially look up to, right? Maybe if I'm 13, 14 years old and he's talking about ETH, precious ETH, holy crap, let me buy some ETH, right? That is a complete disservice, dude. That sucks, you know? But, dude, I can't blame him for wanting to stack more corn.
No, I can't blame him for wanting to stack more corn, but I can definitely blame him for shilling ETH. But anyways, it's okay. There's plenty of shillers.
He knows. He definitely knows.
It's okay. Now. He knows. You could tell. You could tell. There's zero passion in that read.
Yeah, but you know, like, I personally, and both of us, we couldn't do that. But one of the first things that we said when we were on the show is like, dude, it's like we can't. And I said this at the Bitcoin conference too when I spoke last year. We can't sell ourselves, right? If not us, then who? Right? Like, yeah, it's exactly. Like, dude, I don't know. Anyways, okay. What's the next fail?
Let's keep going. Don't worry. This just gets more and more cringe as we go down here. Let's move on to the next one. What have we got? MetaBank DeFi. Ooh, that sounds like a pile of crap. Metaverse to have a new lender, the world's first shitcoin-based bank. Lucky us. All right, a decentralized bank. Unique benefits of decentralized finance to facilitate the development of simple and dependable digital banking procedures. This article, you'll see, as I read through this, you're going to start to feel that feeling like you're standing in slime, right? That's because it's the same fiat banking speak that we're used to. These, you know, words that are sophisticated enough that will make you feel like if you don't know enough and if you're not confident enough, they're going to make you feel good as though this makes sense. But really, it's a pile of crap to keep you in this system that, you know, that these people control. Anyways, let's continue here. The concept envisions a society in which all people are equal and can live and earn freely regardless of color, gender, ethnic origin, sexual orientation, language proficiency, or immigration status. MetaBank stated in a news release. Oh, so you mean they should just all be using Bitcoin, is what you're saying. All they need to do is use Bitcoin because it already exists and it already fits all of those narratives. Bitcoin is for everyone already. Anyways, this is just such garbage. All right, let's continue. JPMorgan, the largest bank in the United States, announced last month that it had become the first bank to enter the metaverse. Oh, now we understand where this business speak comes from. Having created a lounge in Decentraland, a blockchain-based virtual world. Lucky us. Virtual banking in the metaverse. As if that picture of the slave sitting there on the mattress with absolutely nothing but the Oculus headset on couldn't be more alluring. Now you could be banking in the metaverse. Ooh. Do tell. I mean, this is psychotic, man. All right, here we go. MetaBank said, the objective of MetaBank is to implement decentralized banking and to assist consumers in truly grasping the concepts of virtualization by introducing them to the metaverse and empowering individuals who can choose their own financial terms. We got the good words. We got empowerment, financial terms, security. Here we go. It's going to feature a virtual bank, healthcare, gaming, casinos, as well as a virtual NFT marketplace, art, and entertainment. Wait a second, I thought NFT was art. It doesn't matter. Anyways, the bank will also have their own token. Boom. Gotta have a shitcoin, right? Gotta be able to control all the mindless fools in our shitcoin casino. Okay, so you saw those beautiful words that I read to you, right? The inclusion, it's for everyone. It doesn't matter the gender. We're gonna give you your own financial terms. Okay, but on the other side of JPMorgan, there's this. This is the other side of JPMorgan. So think about all that inclusion they were just talking about. And let's take a look at this. JPMorgan freezes Uniswap founder's account. But my inclusion. Inclusion. Founder of Uniswap, and don't get me wrong, we hate the shitcoins. Can't stand them. But you know what? He has a right to transact. I may not agree with him. I may think that what he's doing is ridiculous, but he has a right to transact. He has a right to do whatever he wants in the banking system. He has a right to store his value, whether I agree with him or not. Anyways, Hayden Adams recently had his account closed by JPMorgan Chase. In a tweet, Adams stated that the financial institution had done so without giving notice or explanation of their actions. The move by JPMorgan isn't surprising considering several businesses offering crypto-related services have been debanked with no reason late last year and in the first weeks of January this year. If you're not familiar with what debanking is, it is what financial institutions such as banks are using to terminate or deny services to particular clients. In this case, the clients are individuals and businesses in the crypto industry. The law allows financial institutions to deny or terminate services to customers. However, they need to state the reason for doing so. For example, financial institutions can terminate services to a customer that is engaged in making illegal transactions such as money laundering. So they get a slap on the wrist, they pay the millions of dollars, they continue to do business. But you get debanked. You go to jail, your family gets screwed and you all become trash. Okay? There you go. But them, they get a slap on the wrist, business continues because, oh, well, they're too big to fail. Think of all my jobs. It's so disgusting. Anyways, look. So I want you guys to think about this, right? That is the inclusion. Okay, there's the inclusion, there's the gender, there's the equality, there's all of this crap. But in the real world, they are debanking people. If you think for a second that they're not going to debank people in the virtual world, in the metaverse, if you think that you're not going to become a meta slave or like a meta debanked poor person over there, you have another thing coming, okay? Because that is all new levels of control. All new levels. Anyways,
so it's funny. That was a meta fail, and the meta the meta bank. It's funny. A decentralized bank. The word bank it's a paradox. Decentralized bank. It literally does not make sense. As a bank, obviously, it has to be centralized to be a bank, right? It literally contradicts itself. But it's exactly what you said. It uses all the financialese, right, to like spin it and try to sell you on something. Now, in terms of the debanking, dude, yes, they're hiding behind the moral virtue. They're hiding behind the inclusion. They'll say that central bank digital currencies are going to enable all these great things, but it's all a facade. It's all fake. It came out with the Canada protest. It came out what we're going to cover in the news, Afghanistan. It came out with the Ukraine. It came out as soon as shit hits the fan. You know what they do? They freeze accounts, right? So you can talk about inclusion. You can talk about all that bullshit. Let me tell you guys some facts, okay? El Salvador, Bitcoin hasn't even been legal tender. Maybe it has been about a year, right? There are more downloaded Bitcoin wallets than there are bank accounts in the country. Why do you think there's no more bank accounts? The KYC AML system excludes half of the planet. When you advocate for KYC and AML, you're advocating for a system that deems just because of where people happen to be born, they're not worthy of a bank account. That is what you're advocating for when you advocate for that system. It's very easy to see that system from the perspective of someone living in the West, and you're like, oh yeah, it has to happen that way. You don't see the unintended consequences. You don't see the dirty other half. So, yeah, man. Look, he was a shitcoiner, but at the end of the day, right, what is that thing, that famous quote by Voltaire? I might not agree what you have to say, but I'll die protecting it. Same with Bitcoin, right? I might not agree who you transact with, but I'll die fighting for your ability to transact with anybody freely. So, yeah, man, it's... and what was that? Jamie Dimon was like, I'll never buy Bitcoin. It's just... Look at him. He's building fake banks for fake money in a fake world. These people are... Look at him go. They're scumbags. And they don't play by the same rules that we peasants do. They have other rules. But anyways, Phil, if they have rules. But anyways, Phil, it's time for... The Daily Meme Review. Brought to you by Citadel 21. It's the best Bitcoin cultural zine. It's stories, articles, comics by actual Bitcoiners. Every volume, has different artwork. This is volume 10. It just dropped, and they're scarce. There's only 1,000 physical copies made per volume. Get your print of Citadel 21 today before it runs out. First meme is brought to us by the legendary. I say legendary because I guess she's an artist, and she makes some awesome little things, and we review them all the time. So shout out to Lena Sheesh. Oh, I'm out of money. Oh, time to buy the dip. Yay, I got my salary. Oh, I'll wait a little and buy when it goes down. Oh, inflation. Oh. Whatever, I just bought some anyways. Oh. It's so true. Right, it's like as if it like times it, right? It's like anyways. Okay, this is why it's important to DCA. Anyways, the next meme is brought to us by Petroker. Bitcoiners, no coiners. Do you understand how fucked you It's true. It's true. I completely agree.
Pretty well done, right?
It's by Lomp.
Yes, this is, yeah.
It looks like you're experiencing unprecedented inflation. Would you like help? Sell my car, euthanize my dog, try bugs instead of meat. Don't show this tip again. That is absolutely... okay. It's interesting.
It's a throwback to Clippy. I mean,
Yeah,
look, everybody who's old enough will appreciate it.
I was 7. Okay.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, here we go. Michael, he's been on the show.
Okay.
The Bitcoin space has 3 main fields. The one within the cross sections of each field is where you will find different subcultures. Below is a Venn diagram of what the landscape looks like. You know what this reminds me of? Shout out to Giacomo. He did this amazing presentation at Unconfiscatable.
And that's what this is based on.
Oh, that's what it's based on.
That's what he did. And he actually, in his long thread, he actually tags Giacomo and everything, and Giacomo comes back and provides him some, so yeah, you can see right up there, he provides him some feedback. But dude, that's an amazing diagram, and it's very well done.
Revolutionaries, Austrians, speculators, disruptors, engineers, cypherpunks, perfection. Very cool. It's very dangerous when you use the word perfection in human beings. It's a very, very slippery slope. Anyways, Main Street Bitcoin, my empty bank account. Watch me buy more. It's true. It's true. You gotta buy Bitcoin even though you don't have that money in your bank account. If you don't have overdraft fees, you are not a Bitcoiner. Anyways, next one by Yuring Sung, fixed it. Plebs, newcomer arriving on Bitcoin. Crypto guys, vegetarian, communist, virus believers, anti-gun cameras, gold chair owners. It's so true. Look, some of these I don't agree with, but the general gist of it, absolutely hilarious. And for that, Phil, because of how hilarious it was, I'm going to give it, and this will bring memories to all you guys, the Staper brand that was in your classroom. You know, the one that goes like that?
It's a swing line.
You know, the one that has a little thing underneath, and you used to be able to switch how the staples were that you played with when you were a little kid? That stapler. Anyways, Phil, what would you give those memes?
I like that. Solid score. Okay, you know what? Love the memes. And for that, I am going to give it a very iconic thing. Very iconic. It's a sticker, but it's what's on the sticker that's so iconic, right? It was Nicolas Dorier who said this to BitPay all those years ago, and the sticker is by Bitco, right? And what did he say? He said, "This is lies. My trust in you is broken. I will make you obsolete." And he did. His whole team did, not just him, but BTC Pay server made them obsolete.
Fuck
they just don't. They don't know it yet, but they're pretty obsolete.
I love BTC Pay. When I went to BitBlock Boom, it was like 2 years ago. I said that, and I still stand by that. It is one of the most important projects in the space, right? Yeah.
Agreed.
And I encourage everyone to, especially if you have an online store, to adopt something like this. You don't have to go through a third party, right? Yeah. So very, very cool stuff. But anyways, guys, we want to know if you agree with our scores, you disagree, let us know down in the comments section. Make sure to subscribe to us on alternative video platforms like BitcoinTV.com and, of course, Rumble.com. We like Bitcoin TV because they don't censor there. And, of course, join our Telegram group. Link us some dank Bitcoin memes to review so we could review them on the meme review because of Bitcoin meme review. And if we didn't have memes, we would have nothing to review. But anyways, Phil, it's time for
the Daily News.
Brought to you by CryptoCloaks.com. They make the best 3D printed Bitcoin merch, like the famous 3D printed Bitcoin grenade. Opens up, Bitcoin art sculpture grenade. Opens up, you put your favorite hardware wallet in there. And you could also get this in any custom color your heart desires. You want to make this red? You could do it, but only on CryptoCloaks.com. And you can take advantage of the link down below for 5% off. All right, so look, I have no idea. But this is the flag of Honduras. This is what Max Kaiser is referencing. I don't know. Obviously, he's implying legal tender for anyone that didn't understand. But that's all I have to say about that. I don't know. I have no idea. You know, obviously Max is over there. Max and Stacey are in El Salvador all the time, so they must know something, obviously, and they're friends with Mao, so Samson. So maybe probably know something I don't. But let's wait to the official announcement, shall we? Okay, anyway, I'm not even going to make that part of the video. Nothing. That's not even going to be incorporated. I'm not going to go down that type of clickbait. Okay, anyways. But it could be a potential it could be a potential possibility. Potential. Anyways, this is a follow-up to yesterday. We had this huge data breach. Major Bitcoin companies were affected. Like Unchained Capital, you had shitcoin / Bitcoin company BlockFi, you had NYDig, you had Swan. So this was horrible. Obviously, HubSpot is a third-party service, and this is their explanation for what happened. On March 18th, we learned that a bad actor compromised the HubSpot employee account. While our investigation is still underway and we continue to learn additional details, our initial assessment suggests that data was exported from fewer. Oh, it could have been 50, but it was 30.
You have to sell the sizzle, Nico.
Oh, man. All of whom have been notified. No, dude, you just have to be honest and transparent. Anyways, at this time, we believe this is... That's why I like the response from Swan. That's why I like the response from Unchained. They were straight and to the point.
This is what happened. This is the info
This is what exposed. This is what didn't expose. We're sorry. We're going to do better. Etc., etc. This is a PR stunt. Same as BlockFi. This is a PR stunt, right? Anyways, at this time, we believe this to be a targeted incident focusing on customers in the cryptocurrency industry. We have terminated access for the, I hope so, for the compromised HubSpot employee account and remove the ability for other employees to certain actions in customer account. We take the privacy of our customers and their data. No, you don't, though. No, you don't. No, you don't.
Words.
No words. That was word. I read I felt like I was reading something that a politician would come up with. Like that's what it sounded like. And then if you compare that with the ownership of Swan and Unchained, they owned it, right? That isn't owned. That is like passing the blame, right? It's like, this happened. We're kind of stuck. It just happened. It's the cryptocurrency industry. Like, I don't know, dude. Left a bad taste in my mouth. I thought you guys would find the Honduras and the HubSpot thing interesting. Phil, what are your thoughts on potential Honduras? And I know it has nothing to... I know they don't relate to each other, but I'm bunching them up.
They don't need to. They don't even need to relate to each other. But they're both good points. Number one, that tweet from Max, not the first time I've seen Honduras mentioned. Not the first time. Are we being trolled? Right? We've seen this happen before where fake accounts, right? The memers do a great job of switching their accounts up and making it look like the president.
But it's Max though. It's Max.
No, I know it's Max, right? And I have seen the mention of Honduras. So look, we'll wait until we have something official, right, that we can actually say. But this is the rumor around the rumor mill right now.
Unconfirmed.
Unconfirmed. Now, I'm sorry, my short-term memory goes away.
The HubSpot response. Yeah.
Okay, so the HubSpot response. Look. I worked for a Fortune 500 company. I know exactly the legalese. There are departments that specifically craft these letters. This is what they do. Okay, this is what they come up with. They have groups of people or a person in the company that comes up with this, and then they end up having a roundtable with several managers where they all sit there and decide on the language. Right? And they switch up the words and make it all look wonderful. But look, at the end of the day, they don't give a shit about your privacy. What matters is that they were caught. Okay? HubSpot was caught. That's all. And the fact that they tell you that they've removed the account information, make no mistake, they have no idea how deep that leak goes. Okay? I know exactly how this works. They make these statements to quote unquote get out ahead of the issue, but they have no idea how long that's really been going on. And now they're going to start doing their investigation. Right? Now they're going to start to figure out. So don't get me wrong, but we may be hearing from HubSpot in a couple of weeks, maybe even a couple of months, with a little bit more clarification on this.
Absolutely. I'm so glad that you gave me the insight, because I know you do. I know you did. So it's like, yeah, man. Like getting into the... Oh, man. Dude, it's such jargon. It's such BS. Anyways, guys, so I have a big story next. But we've been covering it tremendously. One article we haven't covered. But the reason that I want to cover the other 2 articles, or just kind of skim by them, is so that you guys understand that the media has a capability of crafting a narrative, right? And right now, they are turning that capability and they're using it against Bitcoin. They have. In fact, we were, from my understanding, Phil, we were one of the only channels that predicted successfully that they were going to use Russia to try to attack Bitcoin, and that's exactly what played out. We predicted it, the New York Times article dropped, and then Elizabeth Warren with the proposed bill where she's, you know, she wants to ban self-custody. She wants to KYC all miners, but miners don't have that capability, so that they wouldn't evade Russian sanctions. I want you to pay attention to the hypocrisy, though. Okay? So check this out, right? So first, I'm going to share this article, how Ukraine embraced cryptocurrencies in response to war. This is from the Financial Times. Okay? It's a very legacy media, powerful propaganda arm, 100%. Now check out this title. Russia could use cryptocurrency to blunt the force of U.S. sanctions. Do you see where I'm going with this? Ukraine okay, Russia bad. Do you see? So this is New York Times. Russia could use cryptocurrency to blunt force of U.S. sanctions. How Ukraine embraced cryptocurrencies in response to war. Now, another observation. You would not have noticed this if I didn't point it out. But because I have to do this every goddamn day, and I love it, you start to pick up on patterns, okay? Anyways, let's check out this article, right? You guys know the rhetoric. I'm not even going to reiterate it if you guys have been watching the show, right? You guys know how Elizabeth Warren feels about crypto, how they're using Russia to attack crypto, how they're using all this stuff to attack it. Get ready to have your mind blown, because look at how different they're trying to paint the narrative here. It was a plan hatched in haste on the second day of the invasion. Ukraine's digital transformation minister, I'm not even going to try to pronounce that, Fedorov, turned to his deputy, instructing him to set up an official government wallets that could accept payments in cryptocurrency. As queues built up outside cash points in supermarkets in Kiev, Alex, I'm not even going to try to pronounce that, knew he had to move fast. Our banks were limited. There were restrictions on our use of fiat currencies, and we were rapidly running out of supplies, he said. Even if you manage to pay in fiat, a wire transfer takes a few days to reach the recipient. In the crypto world, it takes minutes. This is something that we've been saying. This is something that the New York Times and Elizabeth Warren completely leaves out. They know. They're gaslighting you. Yep. Ukraine has already begun embracing crypto before its war with Russia. The country was ranked 4 for cryptocurrency adoption among its citizens in a global index by Chainalysis, the crypto research group, last year. But the conflict has acted as a catalyst for the government's ambitions to build an innovative blockchain-friendly economy led by a young team of techno-natives in government. The government has raised more than $100 million in cryptocurrency donations since the start of the war. Not a problem. Elizabeth Warren doesn't say anything about that. That's okay. In fact, they could raise it directly through Twitter. No problem. While this is small compared with the billions in aid from Western... Here's the plug. Pay attention, guys, to the narrative. While this is a small compared with the billions in aid from Western governments and the IMF, ignore the fact that this country was able to raise money from millions upon millions upon millions of people around the world that believed in the cause. You still need the bureaucracies of governments and the IMF. Bernov said crypto had become an essential tool of war, allowing... Do you see? Russia, bad. Ukraine, it's okay for Ukraine. It is a great achievement of the government that we have young leaders. We are more enthusiastic and willing to accept challenges. An attitude he believes has been instrumental in implementing this crypto policy. Do you see how they're cheerleading? They're cheerleading because it happens to be Ukraine. But with Russia bad. Now, again, so I wanted to point out the narrative that they're trying to paint, how they're using the different perspectives, right? Ukraine, we support crypto. Russia, we're against crypto. Now, what are the consequences of this system? What are the consequences of literally having debanked, right, Russia, having debanked Afghanistan, having their system, because this is a system, right? Look, what they're advocating for in this thing is crypto is bad because Russia can use it. That same idea is what is behind the idea of sanctions. You always hear that the US is sanctioning Russia. You always hear that the US is sanctioning Cuba, but you don't hear the consequences of it. If they had a combined front, if both these articles said, or both these publications, major publications said, Ukraine is using crypto to pay for war, then you would say, okay, you know, like, okay, it's a combined thing. But the fact that they're picking and choosing lets you know that they don't give a shit about that. It's about power. Now, let me show you the consequences of what a system of sanctions and a system of, I don't agree with a certain population, therefore they don't have the right to the financial system. Let me read you about the consequences of that system. Biden's sanctions on Afghanistan threatened to kill more civilians than 2 decades of war. What are sanctions? They should not have a right to use our money. Let's look at the real life consequences of that. In fact, the real mistake was the opposite. The Biden administration did not end the war, but continued it by other means, which are turning out to be more violent and destabilizing. The economic sanctions imposed by the United States and its allies are causing widespread severe hunger in the desperately poor country. Unless those sanctions are soon reversed, it is estimated that more people will die from the economic impact of sanctions over the next year than the number who died in 20 years of war. If you are advocating for AML and KYC, that is what you are advocating for. A system of exclusion that causes misery for half the planet. And I pulled up the article from the New York Times, and I pulled out the article from the Financial Times to point out the hypocrisy. If it's a regime that we support, they could use money. If it's a regime that we're against, they can't use money. You know what the only thing that the Afghanis have to receive money from overseas? They have Bitcoin. Venezuela, Bitcoin. Cuba, Bitcoin. Ukraine, Bitcoin. Russia, no, they can't use Bitcoin. No one should have the right, no single human or government or group of elites should have the right to get to decide if other people have the right to use money or not. And when you self-custody Bitcoin, you are part of that fight. You're fighting it whether you realize it or not. You're defunding them. This is what we fight for. It's human freedom, dignity, the right to save for a better future without the fear of debasement and without the fear of confiscation. That is the system that you're fighting for. That system is causing real-world poverty, hunger, suffering. And when you're against Bitcoin, that's what you're standing up for. When you're standing up for the US dollar, that article, that is what you're standing up for. That's what you're advocating for. Phil?
Beautifully said, man. Beautifully said. So look, I'm going to take a little bit of a different angle on this. Do you know why they come up with those types of articles? And do you know why they come up with all that contrarian material? They do it to keep everybody divided and confused. You see, confused people that are divided, that are also stressed out from 2 years of whatever the fuck we just went through, okay? This makes a bunch of people that really can't think very clearly. Okay, that's what it does. It makes people who can't think very clearly, and it makes it possible for the people who had the means, right, to, let's say, go through that whole situation relatively, unharmed, right? Those people, they're in these positions of power, and they're able to make and push these narratives. So here we are, right, the peons, being completely confused. Yes, that's right. Bitcoin can help the people that you support. and it can also help the people that you don't.
Bingo.
Okay? That's how money for everyone works. Okay? We shouldn't be, to Nico's point, right? Bringing up that article about Afghanistan, do any of those people really deserve to suffer over two governments bickering?
What did they do?
Really?
What did those people do?
Like those individuals, right? Like those are people just like you and me. Those are people that grew up just like you and me, right? Kids, dreams, all that good stuff. But no, because their government is fighting with another government, they are limited and they are doomed to suffer in poverty until the country in power decides that should be different. Mm-hmm. And we consider this to be humane, and we consider this to be like, no, this is psychotic nonsense.
It's psychotic.
Okay, we are crap, and we can be better.
Yeah, and the way that we're better is we have to remove ourselves from the capability of being able to do that.
That's
and
right.
Only Bitcoin has been able, none of the shit coins, only Bitcoin has been able to figure out how to successfully separate the monetary policy away from human beings. I saw a tweet, I don't know if I'll be able to find it, but I saw a tweet from a shitcoiner the other day, said Ethereum should be deflationary soon. That means, think about what that means. That means that there's a human being that gets to decide whether Ethereum is deflationary or inflationary.
We were tagged in an excellent, I think you maybe even posted it in the Telegram. I think we're going to use it tomorrow. It's an excellent fail on exactly that topic.
Oh, so I'm not even going to pull up the tweet. We'll cover it tomorrow. You guys have to tune in tomorrow. But anyways, Phil, there was a website by Plebs. Why don't you show everybody?
Websites by Plebs or Plebs, brought to you by CipherSafe. Check them out, cyphersafe.io. Everyone has to store their seed. Store it the most secure way you can. Store your seed in the Cypher wheel or the all-new Cypher grid. They both come with tamper-resistant wire, and the grid comes with a punch tool. All right, guys, this is and again, I do apologize. Don't know who started it, but it's really awesome. This is 4chains.org. I think this is pretty cool stuff. This is essentially a throwback to the bulletin board systems, the forum systems, right? Makes us think of 4chan anyways, which is still around, by the way. But let's dive into this. This is Lightning, Bitcoin only, cool stuff. Welcome to 4chains, a Bitcoin only discussion board. We were sick of influencer bullshit on Twitter and too many shitcoin spammers on /biz. To try to keep posts on topic, each post requires a small Lightning network CAPTCHA invoice to be paid. Very cool, guys. Very cool that you're incorporating Lightning with this. We've put the link down in the show notes. And, of course, guys, we mention it every episode. Don't forget to check us out on our audio-only platforms, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Anchor, and if you want to stream us some sats, Fountain.fm.
Awesome. Thank you, Phil. All right, guys, before we go, I want to give a very special shout out to our awesome hoodie sponsor, thread clothing sponsor, rephard.com, represent LTD, and you can take advantage of the link down below for 10% off anything off the rephard.com store. Really cool stuff. And I also, guys, if you enjoyed the show, if you enjoyed the show, you know what to do. Smash that like button. And of course, if you want to continue hearing the Bitcoin news from the Pleb perspective, definitely consider subscribing to Simply Bitcoin, and we'll see you tomorrow, guys, for a brand new episode.
If everyone's surprised that we haven't lost our minds, it's thanks to Bitcoin.
That is a good one.